All right, hey everybody, welcome to another Street Fight Club pod show. I'm EBar, and here we've got the old one, Finest.
That's me being old.
Yeah, and the young one, Chad. You gotta say something or you don't show up.
Here's Johnny.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know. Anyway, so basically we're talking about that the Nintendo Classic has been discontinued for no good goddamn reason. They're selling well. So I guess like either a few days ago or in a couple of days, they're going to be sending out the last shipment of them. And then after that, no more Nintendo Classics. So why? What's going on? What's the deal?
Why would Nintendo not want to make money? Not only not want to make money, but also want to create a black market where douchebags make a lot of money.
That's all they're doing is making it to where people can be complete assholes and charge whatever they want for their product that they only charge $60 for.
First of all, what is the NES Classic? So it's like basically like a little clone machine that looks just like a Nintendo that has 30 games on it. It hooks into your HD TV, which is amazing. Like, I probably have most of these games, original copies, but having the ability to hook up to my HD TV and play them is pretty awesome, because I don't know if you've tried to hook a Nintendo up to a HD TV and it's like there's lag to it. I know there's some sort of special way to hook it up, but I'm not smart enough to do that.
Yeah, some type of scientist.
But it seems almost like Nintendo came up with this idea as just like a stopgap to make some money over the holiday season, before the Switch came out, and then it became more popular than they thought it was going to. And now they're just like, fuck, well, I guess what are we going to do?
But I still don't understand why, when something is making money, that they would just be like, you know what? Nah, we're good. We got the Switch now. It's selling more than we thought it would, so fuck this other thing that people still want.
I don't even know how much money it really was making, because I know it sold out, and it sold out like the day that it first came out, but I think that's because there's such low numbers of it. Like, I called around the day that it came out here in our town, and I live in a small town, but like Walmart said they got like 5. Like, I called probably at 10 a.m. and Walmart was so angry with people calling. They were like, when I asked if I could go to the electronics department, they're like, "Are you calling about the Nintendo? We don't have any." And I called GameStop, and they told me that they only got 8 copies, and they already had 30 copies on a waiting list, and I could put myself on a waiting list if I wanted.
8 copies? The fucking 8 people that work at GameStop probably took all those. You know what I mean?
And there's no way that they got more copies out. Like, there's people that are on that 30 list that'll never get a Classic.
That's a little heartbreaking. Chad, do
you think they done it just to have a big hype about it? Like,
but what's the point of that?
I don't know.
I think Chad is onto something. I think maybe part of it was Nintendo's had a lot of bad press lately. You know, about the Wii U didn't do well, the 3DS didn't do well when it first came out, and people were kind of a little skeptical about the Switch. I know there's a lot of hype when the first commercial came out, but before that, there's all kinds of rumors on the internet going around that, like, there's a rumor that there was this weird U-shaped controller and all kinds of weird stuff. But I think Chad might be right that they wanted to get their name back in the media and back in the public consciousness and be like, hey, remember when Nintendo was at the top of its game? This is when it was at the top of the world. And put that back into, like, the public consciousness.
But why go that low where they know that this shit's going to sell out? I mean, they could have given 30 to every store, and they still would have sold out, I think. So I just don't understand why they just went so low with it. Like, did they not like money, or it just doesn't make sense?
That always seems to be a game plan by Nintendo. They always stock their items or whatever. Like even the Switch, like nobody could get a Switch whenever they came out.
You still can't.
Yeah, you couldn't. That's like that article you shared the other day that they have sold more copies of Breath of the Wild than they have Wii or Switches.
Yeah,
and a bunch of people that bought that game were like, "Well, I'm going to get the system."
Exactly, and I was listening to a different podcast with Pat, the NES punk, and he's one of those people. He went and fucking bought Breath of the Wild, and he still doesn't have a Switch. So, like, you know, are you just buying it in anticipation of playing months later? Like, that just seems shitty. I don't know.
By the time you can get a Switch, you could probably buy a used Breath of the Wild for $20.
For real. Well, I mean, I guess they might have got a discount because Amazon Prime or something had something. But regardless, I would never buy a game for a system that I didn't own yet.
There's no way.
Just putting that out there. Yeah.
But it always seems like Nintendo's like having to do all this craziness to get things going. Where it's like Xbox and PlayStation, they just make a new console and it sells. But Nintendo's always like scamming and not scamming, but like maneuvering and doing all this. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up with that?
They do always push the boundary. I think ever since the Nintendo, like they've been trying to be the bigger and better thing. Like if you have like I don't know if you've ever read anything about the Japanese Nintendo, the Famicom, like it had a microphone in the controller. Like there's only a couple games that it worked on, but like they've always been trying to come up with ideas to make their games and their systems different.
True.
I mean, that's just.
And even, I mean, back then it's not like they were competing with anything to be that creative of like, oh, there's this enemy in fucking Legend of Zelda where if you blow into your controller, it's, like, who thought of that shit? Especially back then. It's interesting, but interesting doesn't always equal better. You know what I mean? Like,
perfect example is Virtual Boy. Like, that is an interesting concept, and they did make a truly 3D system. But what they didn't realize was if they wanted colors, it was going to be too expensive for people to buy. So they went in that headache-inducing red and red.
Yeah, it was just red. And I actually bought a Virtual Boy back in the day, but it was way after they had already given up on it. So I'm pretty sure I got it at Toys R Us for like $30. And like, I think there was only maybe 10 games, 8 to 10 games were even released for it, and they were all pretty much I think I had a bowling game that was kind of fun, but any other system I could play a bowling game on, and it would be just as fun as the Virtual Boy. Like that, we didn't need that innovation. Like that didn't do anything. I don't know.
You didn't like playing like hunched over, staring at the screen,
hunched over, staring at redness, and then being warned every 15 minutes to stop playing for a while, or I'm going to get a headache. That's basically what it did. So yeah, but as far as the NES Classic, I don't get it. That makes no sense. Like you're making so much money, or you're doing so well with the Switches that you basically had to double the amount that you're going to ship this year, and so you're just taking away a revenue stream, is what it seems like to me.
The only two things that make sense to me are if they're thinking about coming out with some kind of complete virtual virtual console, like a Super Nintendo version or something that you could play several different systems on, and probably have internet connectivity where you could download new games or whatever for like people that are just in the mood for retro things. That might be a possibility. Or B, the other thing is maybe they just realized they could make more money charging you for the virtual console games. Instead of you paying $60, they get you at $5, $10, $8 a pop to rebuy those games.
That's true. But for me in particular, and I know I'm not the only one, but whenever I first heard about the NES Classic, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. It's a very reasonable price, $60. That's it's not really gouging or anything like that. And
I mean, that's the price of one game.
Right, and then there was so much time between the announcement and when it came out that I slowly just realized that I do this anyway. I could just easily play all these games on my computer. You know what I mean? Like, so what's my incentive really, other than having a nice little box that looks like an NES? What's my incentive really of even getting this? Like, I could play these right now. You know, it's just an emulator. That's all that is too. So I don't know.
Also, think about that. I mean, part of it for me is like just the cool factor of owning one or whatever, and right, that kind of thing. But think about what you were saying. Like, I could easily emulate any of these games. I could pull up Mario right now and start playing them. Yeah, I mean, I could have every NES game, plus Japanese ones, hacks, all kinds of bullshit.
Yeah. But
people were like, they've been combating emulation for years, but people were begging to buy this, and they said, "Yeah, I don't know, guys."
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, you know.
My main point that I brought up earlier is that the main thing that pisses me off, I don't know what the resellers or scalpers or whatever the hell you want to call them. Like, I understand reselling something to make some money, and I'm not going to tell anybody they shouldn't do that, but there's just a certain level of it that just makes me blood red mad.
Oh, because absolutely.
None of these people bought them because they wanted one. They bought them because they knew they were rare, and it's only going to get worse. Like,
yeah, it's total complete douchebag move. Like, you're taking it away from somebody that actually wanted it, so you can overcharge that same person to pay you for it.
So I searched it on the Facebook Marketplace, which shows you like people in your area. It's basically a Craigslist. I was surprised there's only one, but there's one guy selling a NES Classic Edition for $250.
Yeah, and
those cost $60 brand new.
Exactly. So that's $190 of profit for this thing, and if they sell it. And I was looking at this, and I was looking on Craigslist, and I see two here for $250, and then found a real bargain. There's one for $175. So I don't know. It's just shitty, dude. And of course they all say, "Ooh, rare and discontinued." Like, fuck off, man. You're such a I don't know. It's very aggravating, though.
I'm sure this $250 guy has been on there for a while. Can you imagine how much that price is going to go up? If $250 is pretty common now for one of these, what's going to happen whenever they quit making them?
Right. And
$500?
I just, you can go get an actual Nintendo and probably most of these games for less than that.
Oh yeah, none of them are rare games.
No, I mean, it's the shit that was super popular anyway, for the most part.
I mean, the most you're going to spend for one of these games is $10. And it's almost cooler to have the actual games. But no, it's cool. Yeah. Not almost.
I mean, for, if you're going to say, oh, it's cool that I've got the NES Classic, hey guys, look what I got. Way cooler to actually have the old shit. So, I don't know. What do you think about it, Chad?
I mean, I've said what I thought, but I mean, you're right. I mean, it's like you can just pretty much get any game you want on an emulator in any system. And even now, I downloaded an emulator called OpenEMU, and it literally has every single system on it in one emulator. It's like the ultimate emulator. But I mean, there's not a lot of people. There's some people that don't know about emulators or don't know how to use them, or they may just buy them for like Finest was saying, just to have it.
Right.
Because like if you think about it, if you're throwing a party or something and you want to play an NES game, you're like, hey, let me break out the computer with the weird, I got to get the weird hacked controller, and turn on the emulator when you can just slap on the Nintendo, you know what I mean?
That's true. That's actually a really good point, to be fair. You know what I mean? Because, that's part of the reason is so when people come over, you do have something. Although I heard, from what I saw, the NES Classic, the cords for the controllers were super short, like ridiculously short.
Well, I think that was a lot of people said that was a negative, but I think that they meant for you to have the console next to you because you have to hit the buttons on the console to do different things. So there was really no reason for them to be long. I think you have to hit the power button to get to the menu or the reset button or something.
That takes completely away from the NES experience for me. the feel of it. You know what I mean? Because like
Right.
you didn't sit with the fucking box next to you. It was out by the TV, and you blew in your fucking cartridge, and half the time in the Nintendo too, to get the shit to work, and then you sat back and I don't know. That's just strange though. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but you could buy those cord extenders for like $3 or $4.
Oh,
Which
they're
is
that
another
cheap?
thing. Yeah, which is another thing when I was looking this up on Walmart or whatever. There's like all kinds of companies that jumped on this bandwagon of like, oh yeah, we're gonna make money off this too. So we've got like a gamepad controller plus 2 extension cables plus a carrying bag for $30. No one's gonna buy that.
Well, if no one has the fucking thing in the first place, what's the market for selling that? I don't know. I don't get it. Regardless of maybe they've got some future plans, like Finest was saying, maybe there's going to be like a Super Nintendo Classic that does the same thing plus more or something like that. But if not, this is just, I don't get it. It's a horrible idea, it seems like.
It just feels like a weird social experiment or something. Like they're just like, let's see what happens if we do this.
Yeah.
Regardless if it goes well
be.
or badly, we're gonna do it once just to see.
Yeah. That Miyamoto's fucking demented, dude. And I said it. I don't care.
He's gonna come get you in your sleep now.
I hope he brings Yoshi.
Aww.
All right. Anyway, I guess that's enough for this topic. Facebook.com/Street Fight Club Podcast. If you have any topics you possibly want us to talk about, leave them in the comments. Let us know what you think about the Nintendo Classic being discontinued. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Thumbs up.
Bye.